In a desperate plea, a mother cried out for help, fearing for her daughter's safety. "Please help me find my daughter," she begged, uncertainty flooding her voice. "I don't know if she is being fed, taken care of, or if she is still alive. Is she getting any sleep?" On February 2nd, 2012, Samantha Koenig vanished without a trace. The young barista disappeared during her late-night shift at a small coffee stand in Anchorage, Alaska. What initially appeared to be a simple case of a missing person soon spiraled into a horrifying tale of abduction and murder, underscored by a chilling ransom note that sent shockwaves through the community. A series of ATM withdrawals painted a grim picture of a calculated crime, but this was merely the beginning of a twisted trail that would lead investigators to one of the most cold-blooded killers in modern history. How did Samantha's disappearance uncover the horrifying double life of Israel Keyes? As we delve into the disturbing details of this tragic case, it becomes painfully clear how unfortunate it is that Samantha's story ended this way. In taking his own life, Israel Keyes managed to evade true accountability, ultimately escaping the justice system for the horrific crimes he committed. Samantha Koenig, an 18-year-old barista from Anchorage, became known for her warmth and welcoming nature at the Common Grounds coffee stand. Her reputation was that of a ray of sunshine, brightening the day of everyone who walked through the door. With her bubbly personality and infectious smile, she quickly became a favorite among the locals. Patrons often commented on her kind-heartedness, noting how she always took the time to listen and connect with those around her. Samantha was more than just a barista. She was a beacon of joy in her community. Friends and customers alike could see that she possessed a genuinely kind spirit, one that cared deeply for others and brought positivity wherever she went. It was evident that she was surrounded by friends who cared for her deeply. With big dreams for her future, Samantha was determined to carve out a path for herself, harboring ambitions of pursuing a career in the arts. She had been diligently saving money, hoping to enroll in college and hone her skills. A creative soul at heart, Samantha was eager to explore her passions in photography and design, often dreaming of traveling the world to capture its beauty through her camera lens. Her enthusiasm for life and her aspirations painted the picture of a young woman on the brink of something extraordinary. Yet, unbeknownst to her, fate had a tragic twist in store, one that would cut her life short before she could reach her full potential. On the evening of February 1st, 2012, Israel Keyes executed a meticulously planned abduction. Just before closing time, he arrived at the Common Grounds coffee stand, his face concealed by a ski mask, and ordered a coffee from Samantha Koenig. As she handed him the drink, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. Keyes pulled out a gun, demanding money. After seizing what cash he could find, he forced his way into the stand, binding Samantha's hands with zip ties. In a chilling exchange, Keyes inquired about her car, but Samantha informed him she didn't own one. Undeterred, he marched out of the coffee stand, dragging her into the darkness of the night, right through the window. Witnesses would later struggle to comprehend the horror of what they had just seen. As the chilling events unfolded, two figures emerged in the shadows, their movements unmistakably suggestive of an abduction. In a moment of sheer terror, Samantha Koenig, filled with dread yet fueled by determination, made a desperate attempt to escape. But Israel Keyes, relentless and swift, quickly overpowered her, tackling her to the ground. With a cold grip, Keyes wrapped an arm around her and aimed his gun directly at her, issuing a brutal threat. He would kill her if she failed to comply. In that instant, he showcased the chilling control he wielded over the situation, informing her that the weapon was loaded with silenced ammunition, designed to muffle her screams. They crossed Tudor Road, with Keyes guiding her to his modified truck, a vehicle meticulously altered, stripped of toolboxes and license plates, rendering it nearly untraceable. It was a calculated move, one that revealed his sinister intent. Once inside, he bound her within the confines of the truck before driving off into the enveloping darkness. At that moment, Samantha's nightmare had only just begun, and every act of resistance would only deepen her perilous plight. She was trapped, a captive in a world where her screams would go unheard. Earlier that day, Samantha had been working at the coffee stand, handing out drinks to customers. As she backed away from the counter, her arms raised, a silent plea for help, an unspoken signal that something was amiss. Driving through the dimly lit streets of Anchorage, the headlights of Keyes' truck cut through the stillness of the night. He attempted to soothe Samantha with a calm yet chilling demeanor, explaining that this was merely a kidnapping for ransom, a calculated plan that would ensure her eventual release if she complied. Despite the overwhelming fear gripping her, Samantha's resolve remained unbroken. Understanding the gravity of her situation, she chose to fight back against despair. In a display of quiet courage, she engaged him in conversation, hoping that her humanity might pierce through the darkness of his intentions. With each word she spoke, she sought to connect with him, to somehow sway his mind. Her thoughts turned to what he might say, hoping to influence his actions, to convince him to set her free. "Turn off the lights," he commanded, just as a shadowy figure leapt through the truck's window, a startling interruption to their tense exchange. The scene was surreal, one that carried an air of desperation and dread. Yet, beneath his calm facade, Keyes was consumed by thoughts of his next moves, the wheels of his twisted plan turning relentlessly. It soon dawned on him, however, that a crucial piece of his strategy had eluded him: Samantha's cell phone. Without it, he could not issue a ransom demand, nor could he fabricate a narrative of her voluntary disappearance. Frustration mounted as he realized the gravity of his oversight. Abruptly, he spun the truck around, retracing his route back to the coffee stand, his mind racing with anxiety. Returning to the very spot where he had seized her, he left Samantha bound and vulnerable, a silent prisoner in the oppressive darkness of the vehicle. Inside the stand, he swiftly located her phone, every echo of his footsteps amplifying the eerie stillness of the empty lot, before he returned to the truck. Once back in the vehicle, he drove to a different area of town, where he meticulously crafted 2 text messages, one directed to Samantha's boyfriend, the other to her employer. His words painted a picture of a young woman simply having a difficult day, a deceptive veneer over the horror that had truly unfolded. In a calculated maneuver, he composed 2 text messages. One was directed to Samantha Koenig's boyfriend, while the other reached out to her employer. In these messages, he crafted a facade, suggesting that Samantha had merely experienced a rough day. In the days leading up to his departure, Keyes had made a calculated decision to leave town for the weekend, hoping to buy himself precious time before the authorities caught on. With the aid of reward money generously donated by the community, the Koenig family managed to deposit funds into an account. As messages were sent out, Keyes took a final, sinister step to ensure Samantha's phone could not be traced. He removed the battery, completely disabling it. With his dark plans still unfolding, he drove into the night, enveloped by the shadows. Keyes then inquired about Samantha's debit card, to which she explained it was in her boyfriend's truck parked at her house. She unwittingly provided him with the PIN. After hearing this, Keyes drove Samantha to his home, where he confined her in a shed outside his residence. With a cold determination, he bound her with restraints, cranked up the radio to drown out any sounds of struggle, and ominously warned her that if she screamed, he would be able to hear it using his police scanner. Samantha, trapped in a nightmare, had no choice but to comply, fully aware that any attempt to alert the neighbors would lead to dire consequences. When she handed over the ATM card, Keyes fled the scene, racing back to his truck. He drove directly to an ATM where he tested the PIN Samantha had provided. When the code worked, it confirmed his access to her bank account, filling him with a twisted sense of success. However, what transpired next would only deepen the horror within his home. Keyes subjected Samantha to unimaginable cruelty. In a brutal act, he sexually assaulted her and then ended her life by asphyxiation, strangling her to ensure she could not survive. After committing this heinous act, he left her lifeless body in the shed and returned to his home, preparing for a pre-planned cruise. With chilling detachment, Keyes packed his belongings, seemingly unperturbed by the brutal crime he had just committed. On the morning of February 2nd, as Israel Keyes embarked on his trip to New Orleans, he left behind the lifeless body of Samantha Koenig. Her family, blissfully unaware of the darkness that had enveloped them, would soon be thrust into a nightmare from which they would never fully recover. On February 17, 2012, Israel Keyes returned to Anchorage, a city now steeped in grief and confusion following the disappearance of Samantha Koenig. By this time, the case had captured significant media attention, with her family and the community tirelessly pursuing answers. Despite the growing awareness and public outcry, Keyes remained resolute in his chilling plan, determined to execute the ransom aspect of his sinister plot. The indictment would later allege that Israel Keyes had abducted Samantha Koenig from the Common Grounds coffee stand on Tudor Road on February 1, 2012. taking her against her will to his white pickup truck parked across the street. In a harrowing act, he retrieved Samantha's lifeless body from the shed. Israel Keyes had left Samantha in such a manner that it appeared she was still alive. He used a Polaroid camera to capture a disturbing image of her, ensuring her eyes were closed. In his calculated planning, he included a copy of the Anchorage Daily News, dated February 13, 2012, strategically positioned within the frame. This was a deliberate attempt to create the illusion that Samantha remained captive, alive, and awaiting an uncertain release. In a twisted act of brutality, he even sewed her eyes open with fishing line. The chilling details of the scene revealed Keyes' intent to manipulate the narrative further. He staged the photo with horrifying precision, aiming to instill fear and confusion among those searching for Samantha. Keyes had gone to great lengths to manipulate the situation. He photographed Samantha with a recent newspaper, including this staged image with a ransom note directed at her family. The note demanded a $30,000 deposit into Samantha's bank account, further entrenching them in his twisted game. A note linked to Samantha Koenig's ATM card served as a chilling reminder of the predator's control. This sinister message was meticulously placed under a memorial flyer for a dog named Albert at Connors Bog Park, a location chosen for its eerie isolation. The ransom note Keyes left behind contained a haunting photograph of Samantha, alongside a meticulously typed message. It instructed her family to deposit $30,000 into her bank account, a calculated move designed to further his deception. With hope still flickering, Samantha's family complied with the ransom instructions, believing that their actions would lead to her safe return. However, unbeknownst to them, the nightmare was far from over. Keyes' sinister game of manipulation was just beginning to unravel, weaving a tale of despair. The secluded places where Samantha had been held were not as safe as they appeared. There was little hope for resolution amidst the shadows of Keyes' dark intentions. Keyes initially began his spree by withdrawing money from ATMs in Anchorage. However, he didn't stop there. He took Samantha's card with him on a cross-country journey, making withdrawals in various states, including Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. To evade detection, he donned masks and gloves, meticulously concealing his identity while using the card at numerous ATMs. Despite his precautions, investigators were vigilant. They closely monitored the withdrawals, soon noticing a disturbing pattern emerge. Each transaction shadowed by sightings of a white Ford Focus, a vehicle that matched the description of Keyes' car. It was during this chaotic time that a Texas Highway Patrol officer observed a man exiting a vehicle, who then began to drive away. The trooper, suspecting something amiss, followed the vehicle. Once it exceeded the speed limit, he had probable cause to pull it over. The FBI, in collaboration with the Texas Rangers, intensified their efforts to track down the suspect, honing in on the locations tied to the ATM transactions. On March 13, 2012, Corporal Brian Henry of the Texas Highway Patrol spotted a white Ford Focus and decided to pull it over, unknowingly stepping into a web of horror. As he approached the vehicle, he identified Israel Keyes as the driver. A search of the car would soon reveal crucial evidence, bringing investigators closer to the truth. The investigation took a pivotal turn when Samantha Koenig's phone was discovered inside a vehicle linked to Israel Keyes. Among the evidence, Keyes' wallet contained the ATM card he had been using. This significant find provided law enforcement with the necessary proof to arrest him, finally ending his reign of terror. Under the intense glare of interrogation lights, Israel Keyes chillingly confessed to the brutal murder of Samantha Koenig. He unraveled a disturbing account of his meticulously planned abduction, revealing that he had chosen the coffee stand as the perfect location for his sinister act. With cold precision, Keyes explained how he stalked Samantha, carefully preparing his truck for the kidnapping, even going so far as to remove the license plates. His demeanor was unsettlingly calm, as if recounting a mundane task rather than the horrors he had inflicted. As he recounted the details of how he bound her, transported her to his home, and ultimately took her life after subjecting her to further horrors, a chilling detachment enveloped him. His lack of emotion added a disturbing layer to his narrative. Keyes revealed the horrifying aftermath of his crime. After killing Samantha, he dismembered her body. He drove out to Matanuska Lake, where he cut a hole through the thick ice and discarded her remains into the frigid depths. Despite the gruesome details, he remained tight-lipped about other victims he had claimed across the United States. While he confessed to multiple killings, he withheld the names, maintaining a tight grip on the information. Authorities eventually located Samantha's body in the lake, providing her grieving family with a semblance of closure amidst their profound loss. Yet many questions lingered about Keyes' other potential victims, leaving a haunting uncertainty in the wake of his confessions. Israel Keyes faced charges for Samantha Koenig's murder and awaited trial when he took his own life in his jail cell on December 2, 2012. His death denied the Koenig family the opportunity to witness justice served fully. Moreover, it robbed investigators of the chance to uncover the depths of his depravity and learn more about his other heinous acts. The headquarters of the search for Samantha Koenig transformed into a makeshift memorial, adorned with flowers left by mourners. As news of her tragic death spread throughout the town, the case of Samantha Koenig became a stark reminder of the evil that can lurk in the shadows. Yet, it also illuminated the courage of a young woman who faced unimaginable terror and the unwavering determination of law enforcement officers dedicated to bringing her killer to justice. Samantha's family continues to honor her memory, ensuring that her light shines brightly, never to be forgotten. As the investigation unfolded, the world bore witness to the unimaginable terror faced by Samantha Koenig. Law enforcement officers delved deep into the case, their determination unwavering as they worked tirelessly to bring her killer to justice. Meanwhile, Samantha's family remained steadfast in honoring her memory, ensuring that her light would never be forgotten.